Florida, adopting the budget for the fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2022 and ending September 30, 2023, making appropriations for the payment of operating expense, capital expense, and for the principal and interest payments on the indebtedness of the city in the city's general fund, special revenue fund, capital improvement fund, golf course fund, airport fund, and building fund, and approved for in Schedule A, as approved for in Schedule A. Attached here to establishing authority of the city manager to implement the budget, providing for a conflict, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, to read into the record, I'm required to announce a new millage rate, tax rate of 2.9050 mils, and that is 8.26% higher than the rollback rate of the tax rate of the previous year of 2.6834, and is being recommended as the final millage tax rate. And this and all of the general fund revenue sources are anticipated to be sufficient to cover recommended operating expenditures and maintain the amount of accumulated emergency reserves. So we'd ask the council to consider these two resolutions separately, the first being the tentative, not the tentative, but the final millage rate, and then secondly, a motion to approve the budget regarding the millage of the budget of Resolution 22-26.
Okay, thank you very much. And I will go open this up for the public. Anyone who wishes to speak on R-2225, which is the proposed millage rate, or R-2226, which is the budget. At this time, if anyone wishes to speak on either of those items, you would come forward. Anyone on Zoom?
There is no one on Zoom.
All right, thank you very much. Council, what's your pleasure on Resolution R-22-25?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of resolution number R-22-25.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartland?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
And Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Council, what's your pleasure on R-2226, the proposed budget?
Mr. Mayor, move approval of resolution R-2226.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, thank you for that. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartland?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. I'll now recess City Council meeting and reconvene as a CRA. Item 6A, conduct a public hearing on CRA budget for fiscal year 2023. CRA resolution number R-23-01. Mr. Anand, could you read the resolution, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Sebastian Community Redevelopment Agency, open paren, CRA, close paren, adopting a budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022 and ending September 30, 2023, making findings, authorizing amendments and transfers, providing for conflict, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Mr. Carlisle.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, as we've always done in the past and is required, we have to adopt a separate budget for the CRA. There's separate funding sources from the county that establish the CRA district. So we'd ask you to consider tonight to approve Resolution 23-01 and approve the CRA budget.
Council, your pleasure on R-23-01.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve CRA R-23-01.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. McPartland?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Chairman Hill?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
And Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Motion
All
carries.
right, thank you for that. We'll now adjourn the CRA and reconvene as the City Council. Item 7, resolution number R-22-27, approving the 6-year capital improvement program. Mr. Anand, would you kindly read?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution of City Council in the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting a 6-year capital improvement program for fiscal years ending in 2023 through 2028, providing for repeals of resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Carlisle.
And yes, again, Mr. Mayor, this is part of our policies to adopt our capital improvement plan. This is a 6-year plan, and it can be amended over time, but we will look at it every year. We found it fiscally responsible to at least establish a capital improvement plan and fund it. So we'd ask you to consider approving R 22-27, resolution establishing our capital improvement, 6-year capital improvement plan.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And for the public's knowledge, we've gone through all of these plans and this budget ad nauseum for several months now. So this is just the final reading on all of these things. There have been workshops, there have been all of the necessary public meetings to get to the point we're at tonight. This is just a matter of passing the things that this council, along with our budget review committee, approved over the last several months. So that's why everything seems to be very sort of methodical in going through it. So, council, what's your pleasure on R 22-27?
Mr. Mayor, move approval R-22-27.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second on R 22-27. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Hearing none. Any further discussion from council? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nunn,
Yes.
Mayor Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
and Councilmember McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And just item 7B, resolution number R 22-28, readopting the financial policies for fiscal year 22-23. Mr. Arnott.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, adopting financial policies governing various areas of budget and finance as provided for in Attachment A, providing for conflict, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, council, I'm sorry, Mr. Carlo.
Mr. Mayor, again, this is one of those policies that we enact, and it sets the guidelines by how we operate and how we manage the budget and how we address our resources and our funds, including our reserves and special projects. We'd ask council to approve resolution R-22-28, the financial policies of the City of Sebastian.
All right, council, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move approval of R-22-28, but I'd like to make a comment. I think anyone out there who is interested in seeing how the city operates and how they handle their money might want to pull us up on our website and read it. It's a very informative document. So.
That's a long, that's a long motion.
Yeah.
So, you got that?
Second. I want him to pull that up too.
Okay, so I have a second over here. All right, so anyone from the public wish to speak on the city's adopted financial policies? Seeing none. Anything further from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin,
Yes.
and Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, that's great. Council, I very much appreciate everyone coming up here today. It's unfortunate we weren't able to get here on Wednesday to at least get the budget taken care of, but I'm glad everyone's safe and was able to get here, and we were able to get these things done. Pretty important from a timeline standpoint from the public's edification, so that we have this done before October, because that's when our budget starts. So I appreciate you guys coming in here on a Friday for that. With that being said, I would like to have discussion on tabling the remaining items on the agenda, including the public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant Program, and tabling all those items until October 5th or the 12th. I won't be available to be here in person on the 5th. I could certainly Zoom in. However, I will be here on the 12th. So I'll just take any discussion from council on the remaining items on the agenda.
Yeah, the
push
12th
them.
works for me better than the 5th, so. I
12th.
think we might have a fuller agenda, a much thicker one,
Right.
but I think we can
Do you
get
have any
through it.
idea? Do you have any idea what the 12th looks like?
So the major item that's on the 12th is a future land use transmittal to DEO. But other than that, I don't know, we have a lot because everybody has kind of been tied up with this storm and trying to get that done. So that I feel confident we can get it done.
Okay, because the 12th is going to be our only meeting in October, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and then we'll have one meeting in November.
That's
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever you want, like council. Is 12th good for you, Mr. Proposal?
12th is fine.
I'll probably be on the West Coast, but I can zoom in then.
12th's good for me. Either
Okay.
day's good, but 12th is fine.
12th is fine.
All right, thank you.
Right
12th.
now.
We can reschedule.
Let's go right now.
I would say that we could, but we've told everyone in the city that we're not
Is
going to be
that
doing
soon
these
enough
items.
Have a
So.
special meeting tomorrow.
Do you need?
All right, so
Mr.
we're
Mayor,
good for the
Mr.
12th.
Mayor,
I think
city
the city
manager.
manager.
Yes.
Because of the public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant, we need to set that for the time certain, a motion and a second and a vote to set that for a time certain on October 12th. If you would do that, I would
Okay.
appreciate that.
I move that we set the remainder of the items from this agenda to be heard on October the 12th.
Second.
The original agenda,
The original agenda.
to include the
So
CDBG.
that's fine for that, but we need one specifically for the public hearing on the community development block grant.
Correct.
Community development block
Yeah.
grant.
Okay, okay, so I'll change my motion, how's that?
That's fine. Nobody seconded it.
I move that we forward the remaining September 28th agenda items to include the public hearing on the community development block grant program to October 12th.
I remove my original second and second this motion.
Okay. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? All right, seeing none. Roll call. I'm sorry, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. All right, item D, on September 26th, I declared a local state of emergency for the city of Sebastian, and Mr. Carlisle would like to go ahead and have a discussion on that, please.
So that, thank you, Mr. Mayor, that emergency declaration is set to expire on Monday, the 3rd. The county, I spoke with them, they are not extending theirs, so I don't know that there's a reason we would need to extend ours. The governor's declaration is still in effect for 90 days, so if we needed to reenact that, we could reenact it, but at this point, I don't know that there's any reason past Monday to maintain that declaration. But we also needed to bring it before council so that you all knew that, obviously you did know, but that declaration is in place, and to move it forward, we need to now bring it before you. So it's.
Are you gonna have to contract with Waste Management to do additional pickups for the stuff that we've got?
So we can't do that because, one, I've already reached out to Waste Management to try to bring clam trucks and stuff in. They don't have the resources, they're all obligated and with what's happened. So we won't even meet the Category A designation from FEMA, so we wouldn't get reimbursed for any additional work. I know it's an inconvenience, but there's only two ways you get declared for emergency declarations for emergency funding, and that's if you meet the financial criteria, which is, I think it's 20 or 30% of the population multiplied by $37,500 would be one way. Or number two, if we don't do it, it's a detriment to life, health, safety, and property.
Okay.
It's an inconvenience right now, but it's not a detriment to life, health, safety, or protection of property.
So it doesn't really matter if we extend it then?
That would not have any bearing on extending it, but we wouldn't be able to get paid for it.
Right, okay.
And there's not equipment available at this point.
And the only thing I would ask is there was some questions the last time we had an emergency declaration signed by the mayor as to whether or not the council had to approve the declaration, or is this just a review now? Because council's supposed to review the declaration, am I not correct?
You have the declaration in front of you. The way we changed the charter is the mayor has the right to declare it, but if we want to extend it, council has to vote to extend it.
Perfect. So it's up on Monday, so we don't have to do anything then.
If that's the choice of city council. I don't recommend that we do because I don't see anything imminent that makes us do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything from staff? Or staff?
I just missed the Hurricane Isaias that's on this declaration.
Well,
Just the typo.
I didn't even know there was a hurricane coming when I signed it, so.
Public input. See, the county had Hurricane Isaias.
Well, they'll get that taken care of, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right. Good thing we don't need federal funds, I guess. At this time, I'm going to invite anyone from the public who wishes to bring something before this body to come forward and speak at this time. Yes, sir.
Excuse my ignorance, I thought we could talk at the end, which we are, but there was a subject earlier on I missed. I just see if I could have a couple of questions for the council. On Friday, the 23rd of September, we had tentatively talked about a negotiation meeting between the city. The day before that, the city canceled that meeting. Unknown why, but that's fine. So I guess my first question from the employees to me is, if we're going to finalize the budget at this point in time, today, the employees have no idea where they stand right now. Where are we in the budget? If the budget then is completely finalized, the next meeting from the city was offered 2 weeks from now. So,
Pardon me, sir, just so you know, the council will not engage with you in any type of negotiations, and if you wish to have these questions answered, the city manager's right here, and those questions would go to
okay.
him.
and again, I'm not asking why it was canceled, I'm just letting people know it was. My main question was, during the negotiation, before it was canceled, a proposal from the IUPA employees was offered to the city. My only question is, was that presented to the council?
And I would suggest to you, once again, and this is the way it's going to stay, is that any discussion or negotiations on the contract will be between you and the bargaining unit that we've, the committee that we have established. We will not have discussions with you or anyone else in the bargaining unit. We have a committee that you are to ask any of your questions of, and that is where you should go.
Okay, and I understand, but since that negotiation was canceled, we don't have any answers.
Okay.
So I know I'm not talking about negotiation, I just want to know if the council received that proposal. That's just the only question.
And my last statement stands true.
So I will not be able to know if the council.
You will have negotiations with the committee that has been established by this council as representatives.
So the next time I could talk to them is in 2 weeks, the day after everything finalizes.
Well, I will simply say that you guys have had a lot of time to come to the table, but I will not have discussions with you
Well, if you
about the
brought that up, I
contract.
think I could counter.
You can counter with the city. I'm not, sir.
We had a negotiation.
Any more
They
discussion,
canceled. That's
sir,
not on us.
any more discussion about the negotiations, and I will ask you to please leave the lectern and stop discussion.
Okay.
Because this is not an appropriate time to have any discussions on your contract with the city of Sebastian.
You're correct. So when is the appropriate time?
With the committee that has been established by this body
So during negotiations?
during negotiations. That is
Which is
correct.
the day after everything is finalized. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something, please?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with negotiations.
Okay, good.
During the, just so you hear this back there in the back of the room, during our budget discussions, that was asked of the city's financial officer, and the council understood and still understands that there will possibly be budget exceptions done after the negotiation is complete. So the budget is not finalized.
The budget
completely.
is finalized.
The budget's finalized,
It is finalized.
but we understand that there will be budget exceptions brought forth by the staff at the completion of the negotiations, and we were aware of that, and when we approved the budget, we're aware of that.
Or there could be savings.
So
there could be
but
cost
I'm
savings.
not talking about negotiations. All I'm saying is you asked a question about the budget. The budget itself was approved with an understanding that we know that there will have to be some budget work done at the completion of the negotiations. Nothing to do with negotiations, okay? And you gotta come up, but you can't.
No.
So I'm just saying that the budget was approved, understanding that there will be some budget work that needs to be done at the completion of the negotiation.
Thank you, sir. Please, if you're going to speak, you've already spoken, so I thank you very much. You're welcome. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? All right, seeing none. I'll move on to item 9. Mr. Anand.
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
City manager matters.
Yeah, Mayor, I just want to thank all of our staff that had worked so hard during this event to keep the citizens safe. They've done a yeoman's job. I mean, seeing the things, you hear the complaints about the drainage, and we saw it go down in hours, not days. And I can tell you it was because of a lot of hard work from a lot of good people that work for this city to keep our citizens safe. And I can't just say enough about, our police, our public works, stormwater, and all the work that they do to try to keep this city functioning and to put us in a position where we didn't have any damage for the amount of rainfall and the amount of water and wind and even tidal surge. We came within 6 inches of the river backing up where we couldn't discharge water, but they did a great job. And yeah, there's always going to be things that happen, but I'm going to tell you, we didn't have any loss of property, and that's what's important. So I just have to once again say thank you to all of the staff that worked so hard to keep this city safe.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I was out the very next morning, right after the storm, when the rain had basically gone through. It was a little bit windy still, but staff was out in the parks working hard to get the parks cleaned up, even after the storm. But the work that was done before the storm was astonishing to me, to see that many of the canals, the larger canals that were typically full of water, which caused the backup everywhere else, were not full of water. And I think that's mostly in part due to you and your staff doing a heck of a job in taking care of those canals and working to improve the drainage system here in Sebastian. So I would agree with you, here to your staff. Great job.
Thank you.
City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
so city clerks don't like documents with blanks. And on the emergency declaration, did you guys stop the declaration tonight?
No, it'll end on Monday.
On
It'll
Monday?
just sunset, basically.
So we'll have your signature on Monday?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Or I'll sign it today. I'll just get that out of the way. Okay. Anything else? All right, thank you. Councilmember Dodd.
Nothing tonight, sir.
All right, I will just echo what the city manager said about the staff. Did a great job during the hurricane. Thank God we were on this coast. Our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to the individuals on the West Coast. They are going through what will be months and months of rebuilding their lives. And so the slight little inconveniences of a limb or two in your backyard, or even maybe if one's laying on your house and you have to fix a shingle or two, to just be thankful that we don't have to deal with what's going on over there. And for those people that are dealing with that, you are in our thoughts and prayers. So that is all I have. Vice Mayor Jones.
Yes, I would just like to say, after the storm, I was out as well. I saw Councilmember Nunn out as well. We met up at a couple of places, just sure by accident, but our crews were out. They were doing a wonderful job unclogging pipes and everything, which relieved a lot of flooding in some areas by them clearing some pipes. One of the other things I'd like to say is there's a lot of people, I've gotten a couple of calls and probably have emails where people are thinking that we're going to have FEMA come in and remove all the debris. Just so everyone knows, the city is not doing that. That if you have normal waste management pickup, they will pick up your yard debris on the specified days for your area. And those that do not have waste management, you'll have to do as you've always done, take it to the dumps. The city will not have FEMA units in removing that. So that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember McParland.
Yes, I drove around too, but I can't tell you how many hours, I think it was during the storm, I seen people putting out their old couches in anticipation of it coming. And when you see the old couches and the dressers and everything, that's if you have waste management, you ask for a bulk pickup to come pick up those items. That's not the city. I actually got some compliments about city staff from some residents when I was out driving around. And it is awful. We did dodge a large bullet, but over the last day I've been contacting foster parents and relative caregivers over on the West Coast to make sure that the foster children made it through the storm. And I'll tell you, they're so thankful for me calling. And they're talking about, their roof's down, so there's a lot of damage over there. So anything, if you see to help the West Coast, we should do that because they would reciprocate towards us, I'm sure. And then a final note is that this past Sunday, former city manager Joe Griffin passed away. And he was a great leader for this community. He was a longtime employee from the city. I believe he started in 2006 as the airport director, and he was a mentor to me even up until September 25th. And, I just want to let the city know that he had passed away. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. Councilmember Nunn.
Yeah, I will echo the sentiments I said to every employee I saw. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. I know out in Laconia, there was a easy 1.5 feet above the road of water that morning. By lunchtime, it was down almost 3 feet. They found a blockage that happened down the canal area. Once they got that unblocked, it cleared up quickly. Within 2 hours, it dropped like crazy. I had posted some pictures of the spillway. The spillway was about maybe 7 inches from not being able to dump water into the Sebastian River, and as of yesterday, it was down about 1.5 feet. So the Sebastian River was full. It's still pretty full. Yes. It's very full. If you haven't been down by the canoe launch or down by the swing, you can see how full it is. You can't even see the tree where the swing is, and the canoe launch was almost all the way up to the road, which, by the way, there's a dock down there if you haven't been down there, and water's normally 1.5 feet below the dock. That dock was gone. It was underwater. So just, be patient as things get taken care of, and, take care of what you need to. Stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. There being no further business, we are adjourned.